Hey Sunshine, and welcome to the Duelist Bloom podcast, where we uncover and discover who we are through creating space to reconnect with ourselves. I'm your guide Bria, an involvement and life coach for moms. The key to you living as your authentic self is to evolve and witness. Now is the time to have courage and embrace change. Your relationship with yourself is the only true constant. Observing yourself throughout seasons of your life will allow you to always be in alignment with the desires of your heart. Before we get started, I have to remind you of your influence because you are an inspiration.
Hello everybody and welcome back to the podcast. It's me, Bria, and today we're talking about creating your sacred space. This is one of my favorite things because if you don't have a place for your body to physically retreat to create some distance and space between everything in your life so that you can recharge, it can be difficult to recharge. So having that safe space is key. And so I want to talk about how you can create safe spaces in your home, or if you don't have the space in your home to do this, some spaces that you can find outside of your home to create this safe space for your body to retreat and recharge. Okay, that's what we're talking about today. Let's hop right in. Whoa. All right, I'd like to start today's episode off by sharing a little story with you because I don't think I ever lived alone until I was in college, when I paid for my single dorm room, and even then I was still living amongst a lot of college students. And we can talk about that another day, but that was the first time I lived alone. But I want to tell you about some of the living arrangements that I've had before, just to give you a bit of range of how I have created a safe space in basically almost any scenario. So when I was in boot camp, I had 62 roommates, okay? 62 women in my squad bay. I had a rack mate, and it was like, Bria, how did you create a safe space in there? Literally go and listen to yesterday's episode because that was all about creating a mental safe space for me in that experience, because there was no getting away from any drill instructors. So that's one living arrangement that I've had. I've lived with partners before. I don't like cohabitating. I'm gonna just put that out there right now. That is not something that I desire to experience in the future at any point. But in those situations, it was very, very important for me to have a safe space, because listen, everybody want to be booed up nowadays, and I'm just like, give me my space, please. Give me my space, please. And in those situations, I had to have a desk or having some sort of space. For me, the safe space has always been the kitchen. If I'm in the kitchen, I'd be like, go somewhere. I'm in my zone. Chop vegetables. The kitchen has always been a safe space for me, but recently it's been my desk area. And so just to tie it all together, when I was living at home and when I was like in high school and stuff, the kitchen was my safe space and my office was my safe, or my desk at the time, my office now, but my desk doing work. I did have my own room, but I didn't have a door. I lived in, it was like the basement, but the basement didn't have there was no privacy. It was open. So I could hear everything that was going on. It wasn't necessarily a closed off space. And then during the pandemic, when I was living at home, I had my own room for a little bit of time. But in every situation, every scenario that I shared, I was with somebody. Even now, in this point, I am living with somebody. Even when I was in my single dorm room, yes, I could close the door and get away from people, but I still heard my hallmates or my friends knocking on my door, doing things. Didn't have a complete unstimulated place where it was just me. But the pro thing that I learned when I was living in my dorm, when it was just me, is I got to take up space. I got to put my stuff on the wall that I wanted to put on the walls. I got to light my candles. Don't tell the people at the universities I was lighting candles. I was lighting candles. I was. And it's more about just like we talked about during building the home directory and talking about you, your home is an extension of your body and your being. So when I get to express myself through the things that I have on my wall, through the bedding, through the rugs, and all of those things, I'm creating a comfortable space for me to show up as myself. And I struggled with like being interrupted and being like, oh my gosh, this is my safe space, but somebody's here. And I get all awkward and I get all weird. I still tend to do that because it's more of I'm okay with me being myself in this space, but it's just like, I don't like other people being here. But I'm getting off on a tangent. I really want to focus on helping you create the physical space of, like I said, the rugs, the colors. Do you like plants? Do you not like plants? If you do like plants, but you can't keep them alive, faux plants, like having things in your environment that reflect how you perceive yourself inside and also help you feel calm. And so like once you have all your favorite objects in this place that calm you, so like your books, having a cozy chair, and like I'm talking about in one room and also in your home, but it really boils down to having boundaries around the space that you have. And I'm very particular about not letting certain people in my safe space, my sacred space that is just for Bria. Just for Bria. I do not let people come to like my little desk area or my crafty corner. Like, that's the safe space for Bria, even if it is just a table. Even if it is just that cozy recliner chair. Like, it's boundaries. Because it's like, I retreat there and that's a place for me and my body. Please don't sit in my office chair. Like, that is for me. And so it's having that sense of, I'm setting this boundary to make a promise to myself that this is solely for me. And I know it can be difficult for some parents to be like, you can't come in mom and dad's room. You can't come into the parents' room. Like, this is for us. But the kids somehow, some way end up in the bed or whatever. And I understand. Listen, I understand. I live with my mom, and my younger brother used to be like, let me in the door. Like, my little brother would bang on the door and be like, let me in. I'm sleeping with y'all tonight. And I understand that sometimes but I think it's important to create some sort of boundary where it's like, this is mine and this is what I do when I need to retreat and recharge. That has nothing to do with anything else, and where I can potentially be not interrupted. Even if it's just like, for the next 20 minutes, don't bug me. Wait for me to come out. And it's like communicating that to the people that you're living with during that time. And if you can't have that space of like, okay, I'm gonna go craft for 20 minutes, don't mess with me, or I'm gonna go record a video, or whatever you're doing, whatever makes you feel recharged, having a cup of tea and sipping on that real slow on the patio, that is chef's kiss for me. And so it's like, sometimes if you can't do that physically at home, having that recharge moment, I would highly suggest finding a place that you can return to again and again to go to, like whether it's a restaurant where you take yourself on solo dates, a park where you just take a puzzle, or have a picnic in the park, journaling in the park, where like you can literally get away and recharge. I love going to the park. I'm obsessed with parks, and I think it's a beautiful place to recharge and connect with nature. But it's just like being intentional about, where do I want to do the recharge? Where do I want to create that sacred space for me to be like, okay, once a week, at the bare minimum, once a week, I'm going to do XYZ thing to recharge, to pour into me. Whether that's watching a movie solely by yourself, having popcorn, having a movie night with just you, your favorite movie that you watch over and over and over again, that's like nostalgic for you, like, oh, baby, do it. Please do it. And it doesn't have to be something grandiose. It just has to make sense for you. Okay? It just has to make sense for you. And you're probably already doing these things, but I want you to become aware of what they are, so when you feel burnt out or feel overwhelmed, you're like, okay, I need a recharge day. I need a recharge and relax day. I need some R&R. Rest, recharge, rejuvenate, whatever word you want to choose. You need some R&R, And these are the tools in the toolbox. These are the things that I can refer back to that work. And I'm putting emphasis on that work because it's like sometimes when we get overwhelmed and life is happening so fast, it's easy for us to go to this place of, oh, I don't know what to do. This is I don't even have to put words to it. You know exactly what I'm talking about. And so it's like, they work, so you know that you can go to it. I have a show. It's not on Netflix anymore, and it makes me cry. And I do have a streaming platform that I can go watch it on. It sucks because there's ads on it, but there's a show. It's an anime, Haikyuu, without a doubt. That show, if I'm having a shitty day, all I gotta see is Hinata, Kageyama, Daichi, Sugawara, maybe Oikawa. Ooh, don't give me, ooh, Kuru, ooh. Like, y'all might not know these anime characters I'm talking about, but they do what they need to do. They calm me down, they take me to my happy place. And like I said, if it's not a physical place, put yourself in the energy of being in that sacred space mentally, like we talked about yesterday. What senses can you play to? What way can you create an experience? Having a glass of tea, having some popcorn, maybe a pizza, and watching that show. Y'all, I feel rejuvenated. It doesn't have to make sense to anybody else. Nobody else has to get it. It just has to make sense for you. And I keep saying that because self-care looks different for everybody. It's not going to get a mani-pedi because that don't work for me. I don't want people touching my feet. That's not relaxing to me at all. And so it's like, if that is not your thing, don't try to force that thing on you. Find what works for you and keep it. If it works, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. If it's not a problem, why are you creating one? Why? So keep doing the things that make sense and create the experiences that light you up. Okay? Okay. So I want to give you the next 3 minutes to just think about what's working for you. What things are working? And it goes back to the simple question I asked in the simple decision making. Look at the things in your life that you have been using to recharge. Are they really giving you energy? Are they really filling your cup, or are they draining you further? We didn't talk about social media this time, but sometimes scrolling on Instagram is not the thing that you need to continue to do. And if you don't like the way it feels, you don't like the way it looks, where would you like to pivot and change? And so the same thing applies here when you're looking at creating an experience for yourself. If anything is not working, you have the power and the choice to change it. So yeah, the next 3 minutes are for you to explore and just sit with everything that came up for you. So I will have some reflection prompts on the screen, and this time is for you. I will see you tomorrow for another episode. Bye, everybody.
anything resonated with you during this episode, pass it along to a friend. Let's continue the chain reaction of inspiration. Be sure to leave a like, comment, and subscribe. You can stay updated with all things Duelist Bloom by joining the Village community email list. The link is in the description below. I hope that today is everything you needed to be and more, and remember, you are an inspiration.